Hi, I'm mimertz, and for my term project, I decided to analyze historical video game sales and try to find out the most popular video game and video game series of all time. I chose this topic for my presentation because I personally enjoy playing video games, and after finding my data set, thought that it would be a very interesting topic for my project. The point that I would like to illustrate with this graph is the massive boom of popularity and sales that started in the early 2000s. This massive boom correlates with my childhood and many of my classmates' childhood. And I think that for some of us, this means that video games are actually a defining feature of our lives. And this only made me want to do the project more. The first piece of analysis I did was to break down the top 5 best-selling games in each region. When doing this, I found that Nintendo actually controlled the majority of these regions in terms of sales. This was expected in Japan due to Mario and Pokemon's popularity there, but was not as expected for the rest of the world. And I expected to see a variety of publishers represented on these graphs. This led me to do the next thing, which was to analyze the data by publisher. I found that the top 5 publishers, Ubisoft, Sony, Activision, Electronic Arts, and Nintendo, make up about 1% of the total publishers and about 50% of the total sales in the market, which is about 4.5 billion copies sold. When looking at Nintendo alone, however, over 20% of the total sales in the market belong to Nintendo. They have sold over 600 games on a global level. And of the top 50 games ever made in terms of copies sold, 32 of them were published by Nintendo. As we can see from these graphs, Nintendo just dwarfs the other four leaders of game copies sold. And they also have created the #1 highest selling game of all time, Wii Sports, which has sold over 100 million copies. The first reason for Nintendo's success is the correlation between the boom in Nintendo's production and the boom in video game sales. During the period between 2000 and 2010, Nintendo released 5% of the entire market, solidifying their place as major publishers in the video game market. The next reason for Nintendo's success is the success of their series. Of the top 5 video game franchises of all time, 3 of them were made by Nintendo. Mario alone has sold over 500 million copies, or 6% of the total sales in the market. And when combined with Pokemon and Wii Sports, these numbers grow to about 10% and over 850 million copies sold. So what are the keys to Nintendo's success? First, they created and consistently produced series like Mario, the #1 game series of all time. They produced 3 to 4 Mario games a year from the time of 1980 to 2021. Pokemon is a similar story, with 2 Pokemon games coming out every year for over 20 years. These consistent releases have kept Nintendo's fan base happy for years. Finally, the fortunate timing of the boom of Nintendo's production and the video game boom, combined with the intelligent marketing and successful product launches like the Wii in 2006, along with Wii Sports, continued Nintendo's global success in the space and made them the #1 publisher of video games of all time. Thank you very much.